coffee and colours. I'm still somewhat figuring this out, but it turns out that Twitch is quite a clever little thing, and that even though I'm using my phone as a camera, there's this stream manager thing in Twitch that basically lets me watch my own broadcast and watch my own chat room at the same time without having to constantly get up from my seat and look at my phone, so that's a big help. So we're back to painting orcs for Orctober. I've made a little bit of progress on the two guys that I was painting before, so I'll show you what I've been doing with them. There's this chap who he's got his base and everything on him now. You can see I've done a little bit of brass on that plate on the gun. Got his mask finished. I thought it'd be really funny to basically give him a fire axe as his close combat weapon. So this is our safety conscious orc, and he's basically here to keep the rest of the orcs safe, not so much for the other guys they'll be coming up against. But yeah, we've got the bases done. Got a wee bit of desert scrubland stuff going on there. I'm not sure how well that's focusing on the camera because the stream manager thing is not entirely happening in real time, but it's pretty close, and yeah, that's not bad. So we're basically just going to be trying to replicate those kind of results over the rest of the kill team. So we've got the two boys on the stands just now, and then we've got a whole bunch of others basically waiting in reserve to get painted, but we're just going to crack on with getting these, as much of these two done we can in the next 45 minutes or so. So dead easy one on this one. Orc Flesh for painting Orc Flesh. I think I probably mentioned as much last time, and that brush is way too big. Let's go for a slightly smaller one. So again, this is going to be super weird because we are back to basically colouring in, and this is the thing about using these funky contrast paints, is because they give you, as you can see, pretty decent results. Like, you know, I would not be ashamed to put that on a table, but when you're doing that first sort of blocking of putting your main colours in, like, just you've got all this sort of lightly coloured base coat, and there's just oceans of light colour, and it just looks kind of crap until it's actually all finished. But that's just one of the weird things about contrast, is the end result ties together often absolutely beautifully, but the work in progress bit just looks awful, and it's difficult to kind of stick with it because you can see how bad the unfinished bits look. I am trying out having my light source and my camera in slightly different positions today, partly so that you're not always looking at the top of my head, but also so you can actually see a bit more of the models I'm painting. So let me know how that's working out for you, because I've banged my head off my light twice now, so I'm not 100% sure I'm going to stick with this. But yeah, this is just basically what I can get done on my lunch break. So we've got 45 minutes or so just to see how much we can actually get done, and when I come back with my next stream, you guys will obviously see how much progress I've made since then. So this is just going to be an ongoing thing of me and whatever I'm working on. I am hoping, although this one isn't necessarily guaranteed, so please don't hold me to this, I am hoping to try and maybe get a slightly longer stream in later tonight, maybe an hour or so, but I'm thinking that I might play some games rather than painting some models, just to switch things up a bit. I'm still going to keep it Warhammer focused, so I think I might try playing the original Dawn of War game, which was a hell of a lot of fun. and a lot of people who are into Warhammer remember it very, very fondly. So we'll see how that goes. This guy looks like he's got like a sort of army tank t-shirt type thing on, so we're not painting quite so much of the skin on him, because the other guys had either like fairly open shirts or I mean, this guy's not even wearing a shirt, you know. I mean, orcs were never the most civilized creatures in the galaxy, but if that guy's not careful, he's going to get arrested. But you can see as we're blocking in colours how it's starting to take shape. It's weird. It's contrast is almost a sort of paint by numbers kind of game. You paint this bit in green, you paint that bit in red, and then it all looks a bit weird and wacky, but when you're done, the whole thing looks fantastic. Has this guy got a scarred eye or something? Don't know if you... Yeah, he's got a wee... Camera's not really picking that up great. There you go, you can kind of see that sort of line just above his eye. Not great, but anyway. So we're going to have to do something a wee bit funky with the skin tones around his eyes, just so that that detail's picked out. Get in there, get under his chin. I love that this guy is basically made of sharp objects. I mean, he's got a grenade on his backpack, but he's got a big ass sword in each hand. He's got another knife in his teeth. Have you seen his teeth, for that matter? They are very long. So you know, this guy is not going to be lacking for sharp objects. He's probably the sneaky stabby sort. I mean, aren't all commandos ultimately? Right. So that's all. Missed a bit behind his ear. You always got to do behind your ears. Always wash behind your ears. That's my advice for the day. His face is probably going to need a wee bit of extra work now. I think by and large that's that. We've got a wee bit of spillage over onto some of the other base coat areas, so we're going to tidy that up a bit. And thankfully, because of our wet palette here, we can just go straight into this. You probably can't see it on the camera, but there's a very, very faint sort of creamy white colour that's almost the same colour as the paper. And that's basically the colour that these guys have got in their base coat in. The plastic's normally a dark grey. But a light colour is quite good for these contrast paints, because in some ways it's a bit like painting with ink, and you kind of have to throw it over a very light background to get it to do anything useful. So what colour are we going to do? Is tank top. Now, you know, when you initially think of like a military style vest, because that's clearly what he's wearing, you think of something, you know, a sort of khaki green. Now, the problem is, he's an orc. He is green, so if we paint his t-shirt in the same colour, it's just going to blend in and we're going to lose all of the detail. Now, this guy here, we did him with a sort of dullish yellow. As far as contrast go, that's the darkest yellow they do, Nasdrag yellow, which is still a bit too yellow. We really want that sort of faded out green colour, so excuse me, or faded out yellow colour. So maybe what we do is we do things a little backwards for this guy. maybe what we do is we use what would normally be considered a human skin tone on his shirt, which is probably going to end up looking real wacky. So, of course, if it all goes horribly wrong, we can just go back over with our base colour and completely redo it. So, give our new paint a good shake, get it all mixed up. And let's start this. So I'm using Orc Flesh for this just because it's a bit less pink. And we start slapping that down. And that's not bad. It's not bad. It's not quite the colour we want, but it's not the worst place to start. So maybe what we do is we stick with that and then we go over it with something else. Something maybe just to change the tint of it slightly, because it's not far off what we want. Now I'm not too worried about getting this on other bits, because you can see there it's quite a pale colour. So if we need to go over it, we'll likely just be able to overpower it with whatever else we're using. Unless that is also super pale, but I don't think we're going to be painting the leather straps that are holding his trousers up with a really peely welly colour. I think that is going to be a very strong dark brown or a black. The colour I'm using is not either of those. I'm feeling like the shirt either needs to be a bit more brown or a bit more green. So I'll maybe see. I just realised, I don't know if you can see there, there's a wee bit just under his armpit where I've missed with the green. I've gotten it on his shirt, and I've just gone and put this other colour over it, which is pain in the backside, because I'm going to have to basically let that all dry before I go back and fix it. That is the downside of the contrast. You do have to be careful with the very strong colours, because you can't just overpower them. But the advantage is that if you mess up with one of the thinner colours, or the more faint ones, they are very easy to correct, because you just go over it with whatever's meant to be there. So let's get this blocked in, and then we'll probably just follow similar processes for his backpack and stuff like what we have for the other orcs. But I think we're maybe going to do something a bit different for his jump pants there, because these guys have both got that sort of dark brown leather, not quite leather, but that sort of workmany material. Hi Kira, I just saw you pop in there. It's been going not too bad. Mostly just me talking into the void. But you know what, I'm having fun doing it, and it's not the first time I've been caught talking to myself, so there you go. How are you? This is the part where I really hope my sound is working. Right, so that's his shirt, apart from that wee bit we need to fix. Yeah, it's nice when you get a quiet day at work. Sometimes if there's literally nothing going, I'll maybe make a little bit more progress with some of these guys, but that's just because it's really easy to keep my my paints next to my desk. You know what, I think we're going to give this guy yellow trousers, and then that ties the yellowy colour scheme in to the rest of the squad, so we'll go with that. So I'm getting a wee bit carried away myself there and overloaded my brush, but that's fine because yellow is a relatively easy colour to go over. What am I painting at the moment? I am painting Orc Commandos. Commandos spelt with a K, because you know that's how you know they're orcs. Games Workshop released this big box a month or two back now, and basically they've got this game out called Kill Team, which rather than being large armies over a large battlefield, it's about basically one squad and you're using your individual models. So I basically picked that up and split the box, and I got the orcs out of it, and basically just trying to get them painted up and ready to play. I mean, we could just, you know, given that they're built, we could just play with them as is, but like, where's the fun in that? Besides, I'm always looking to try and get my iron and get some extra practice in. A wee bit messy painting his trousers there, but to be honest, I think it's fine because I'm going to go over it with much darker colours. That t-shirt definitely needs an extra something, but I will come back to it when it's dry. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up mixing my paints. What have you been up to? How much more can I actually get done? I think I'll be painting his knives next. I absolutely love these things. Wet palettes are just the best. Yeah, I've found my evenings very, very tiresome, and I think that's just because I have been stuck indoors for far, far too long, and I am not used to going out anymore. Everything feels like far, far too much effort. Yeah, we're doing much better than we were. Today, I think, is probably the first day where everyone in the house has actually felt even close to healthy. It probably helped that the wee one actually had a really good night last night. He woke us all up at the crack of dawn. But you know what? He actually slept through the rest of the night. So that meant that we slept through the rest of the night, which means we're all feeling a lot better. I think just as I throw the metal on here, I am going to try and make this guy's sword look a little more interesting. Oh, he's got a weird knuckle duster on it. I've just noticed that. This is the thing I love about orcs, is that they bolt things to things because they think it'll make it better. This guy has a sword with a knuckle duster as a handguard. He's got the little two-pronged thing where you wrap your fingers around it. That's absolutely brilliant. It's almost as good as the dynamite on the other guys. So I'm going to also try to make these, that's what I was saying, try and make these swords a little more interesting, because this guy is mostly just his military gear or his military outfit, which is going to be alright, but it's not going to make the model pop. I think we need to do something to make his knives interesting. So I think once I've got those done and shaded and all the rest of it, I'm maybe going to try and put some blood spatter on them, but the challenge is going to be making it realistic because, well, I'm not really familiar with how blood spatters on a sword when it hits someone, so that's going to be an interesting experience. We'll just have to make that up as we go. think that silver might have been on. Oh, if you want gruesome, you should have seen the death guard that I was painting before. I had a lot of fun with that. Give me 5 seconds. I might have a model handy actually. There we go. I've not put this guy on Instagram yet, but he's going to go up soon. So this is a sneak peek on the stream of what's going up next on my Instagram. This chap, who is basically the commander for my Death Guard forces, who are basically a bunch of diseased armored nut jobs, if you're not familiar with Warhammer. And yeah, their thing is that they literally run a cult about plagues. So yeah, he's got a little grenade bomb thing there that's just dripping gunk, and he likes to throw it at people. He thinks it's fun. Well, this guy, he took a while. I think he was probably about 7 or 8 hours altogether, but I did go back and try to do some highlights with him. They aren't as obvious as I might have liked, but that might just be because I'm essentially under my studio lights here. But yeah, he took a long while to do, but he's also the centerpiece guy. He's the guy in charge of that particular strike force, so I wanted him to look his best. The maggot cloak was fun to do. That and the smoke fumes belching out of the back of his thing. I'm not sure if those actually need an extra layer of shade, to be honest, because the smoke doesn't quite have the depth I want. But he's definitely good enough for the table, and he's got his wee mascot on the front of his base there. Oh, it's very kind of you to say. It's not what I'd call professional standard, but it's getting there. One day I will be that good, but today is not that day. But it's nice to hear so much encouragement. Right, I am going to start a new patch of silver on my palette here, because that one I think is finally drying out, because it's been on there for probably about a week and a half, which is, you're probably not meant to use wet palettes for that long, but I've never really used them until I got this one. This is my my first ever wet palette, so we'll wait and see. But yeah, the rest of those diseased plague marines, they're all up on my Instagram. You should have a look at them. They're especially the zombie poxwalkers, they're called. They were a lot of fun to paint, but you stare at them long enough and you actually start feeling itchy. So I consider that quite an achievement. Right, I think I've just about got all the metal on this. He's got this sort of bit of a weird angle, so I'm just going to turn him around on the stand here, because I realise I'm just kind of lathering paint on one side and not really catching the bit I'm trying to get at, and that's because it's the wrong angle. How are we doing for time? We're good. We're good. We've still got 20 minutes at least. I mean, this is just me blocking in a lot of colours. I've not really done the full extent of shades and highlights, although highlights are easier to get away with when you're just painting to a tabletop standard, you know. Shades are easy because you literally just put your very, very thin paint over the colour you've already done and it sinks into the recesses and you're good. Hey Odu, how you doing? Signed up for a whole Twitch account just to come and watch me paint little toy soldiers. I am absolutely flattered. Thank you so much for coming. How's your week been? I see I've gotten a wee bit of green on these grenades here. Let's, can I get that? Yes, okay. I can try and do something interesting with these grenades as well. Oh, you got a rejection. At least they got back to you. At least they got back to you. I've applied for so many jobs where you put the thing in and you sometimes even get as far as getting an interview and then you just hear nothing at all. Yeah, did you get any feedback? I mean, every application, even if you don't get the job, it's still practice, and no one really talks about how much actually applying for jobs is a skill. Have we got any more metal bits? Yes, we've got the stick bomb on his back. Aww. That's unfortunate. Well, like I said, everything's practice. You will get something in the end. Pretty. That's don't know if the camera quite picks up the detail because it's all green at the minute, but I'm not sure if he kisses his mother with that face. Yellow pants. I am going to tone those down a wee bit. They're not going to be quite so bright. But I've got 10 of these guys to do, and I don't want them all wearing the same colour of trousers. So, you know, there's another one. He's got a sort of dark brown leather thing. I don't know how well you can see that. He's got a yellow t-shirt, though. This guy's not even wearing a shirt, so that's where we're at. I think once I've gotten the stick bomb on his backpack done, there's the toe caps on his boots, then I've just got to put a wee bit of shade on the metal bits, and then you'll see how quickly that darkens down. Scandalous. Well, orcs do love a good scandal. The one thing I do kind of hate about some of this painting is, depending on the paint you use, like the ones I've used to do his clothes mostly and the skin colour, is that they look really bad up until the point the model's finished. And then just everything sort of comes together at once. And I've just realised that the steel toe caps on this guy are actually like full on bolted on external toe caps, but that's Orky logic for you. They never do anything by half. I just realised I need to do the handle on that, and he's got another grenade on the other side because apparently you just can't carry enough explosives when you're an orc. But then that's kind of the thing. They do love a big explosion. So we're just about there. I think I do still need to sort orc problems, indeed. Well, that's the things about orcs in Warhammer, is that they love to fight, they love explosions, and they like loud noises. So that's pretty much what all of their weaponry is designed to do. Is it meant to be effective? No, because orcs don't care as long as it makes a loud enough boom. I'm probably going to come back and do this dagger in his teeth a bit later now that I'm thinking about it, because I probably want to get his teeth done first, and I'm probably using far too large a brush to get around his face properly. So let's tone that down a wee bit and use something a bit smaller. Carry around that many accessories. There is a particular sort of orc in the game lore that just hoards guns, and they bolt them together to make even bigger guns, and that's literally all they do. And I can kind of see the appeal, to be honest. I mean, if you're still leaving scorch marks, your gun isn't big enough. Right, that's a bit better with a smaller brush. And I just realised I've got silver halfway up his face. Well, that's an easy fix, but we'll have to come back to it. Right. So, that's the metal. I am going to do a wee bit of touch-ups and corrections. No worries, Akira. Enjoy your lunch. Yes, this guy has a dagger in his teeth. Don't know if... The problem is the software I'm using to there we are. There's a good shot. The thing that I'm using to basically monitor the chat and the stream is not entirely in real time with my camera, so I'm catching things a wee bit late. Right, there we are. And then we can get in with our corrections next guy. Yeah, this guy is made of knives. I'm thinking of just calling him Knifey, because he has a giant sword in each hand, a dagger in his teeth, and he's got some fairly stabby looking crampons on his boots. So that's going to be Knifey the Commando. What was I doing? Just doing touch-ups. That was it. I need... and I just realised I've missed a bit. This is the thing about painting, is that you realise that you have missed bits only as you get on to the next bit, and then you have to put everything down and kick yourself. Let's just slap that in there. That's not quite gone. Fix that. There we go. Great name. I thought so too. Orcs like simple names. An orc will call something generally by what it is, by what it does, in probably the most ridiculous manner possible. So like those orcs that I was telling you about that just collect and hoard guns. And bolt them together. They call them deaf guns. Literally, DEFF guns. Possibly because it makes you deaf, or because it just makes you dead. It's hard to tell. Probably both, but I'm not sure the orc who named it was that clever. Right, so where are we at with these? We have gotten the silver done finally, so we could probably put a shade on that. Need to wait on a wee bit more of the contrast drying before we can put an extra shade on his shirt, because I'm not 100% happy with the colour of that. But because it's a kind of military looking shirt, I wanted it to look not quite like khaki, but the problem is, being an orc, he's got green skin, so giving him a green t-shirt, just, you wouldn't see it. So while we're having a think about that, I'm going to put a wash on the metals here. And these are pretty handy because they're very thin paint and they sink into the recesses, and that's the point. Or they pull in large flat areas, but again that is also the point because it adds a bit of depth. You can see there, just as I'm throwing that on the metal, how that sort of shrinks away from the raised edges. So if I can compare his sword there, that one now looks like it's seen a bit of use. It's been out in the rain a bit, and that one is still clean, crisp, and kind of boring looking. So that's what these shades do. But depending on what color of shade you're using, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. Although I don't know if you were here when I was mentioning this guy. The hand guard on that sword is a knuckle duster. That's how orcs think. That's how they think. That sums up everything, I think. Oops. You're just about getting out. I've just painted my hand. That's frankly, if you haven't got paint on your fingers, are you even really a hobbyist? And I just realised that I haven't really honoured the namesake of this show yet, because I called it Coffee and Colours, partly because it's alliterative and partly because I love coffee, but coffee has not yet actually featured, so excuse me while I make sure that I carefully wash my brush in my water and not in my coffee, and then I drink my coffee and not my paint water. So, cheers. Today's flavour is, I think it's still the lemon meringue pie we had last time. I'll let you know when we get onto a new flavour of coffee. And if anyone heard that mysterious banging in the background, that is the postman. Again, he got me last time, but thankfully there's someone else in the house now to answer the door. I like that that's twice now he's chosen this particular time of day. I mean, you know, Persaud's just doing his job, but he didn't turn up at all yesterday, so, you know, I figured maybe we could get away with it today. Apparently not. This knife, I think, it's kind of fancy looking because it's got a little skull engraved in the hilt, and the crossguard's got a sort of a curve to it, which makes me think that this is a much nicer knife that he's stolen from someone else. Is it an exciting delivery? I don't know. I'm not expecting anything. At least I don't think I am. I did this morning put in an order for some stuff from Games Workshop, more models, but I don't think they've quite got the knack of same day delivery yet. Right, so I think we're nearly there. That is all those metal bits. There's a wee bit of rebar, concrete, something on his base. I'll come to that when I actually get around to painting his base. There's a few other bits on here that I think are probably going to be metal when they're done with them, but I don't want to do them just yet because there's a non-zero chance that the bits they're next to, I'm going to have to put other paint over. Right, His t-shirt should be dry now, so how are we going to make that a bit more interesting? We want to keep it different from his skin colour, so we don't want to go too green. We could go into a bit of a khaki colour, keep it kind of brownish. I think maybe that's what we do, but we can always go back and try something else over it. Did you know you have followers only on chat? I do not, or did not know that. I don't know how I undo that. I am still learning. I have learned today. I have learned my settings are wrong. I'll go in and fix that at some point. Thank you, Akira. Right, so we're just using a brown wash over this just now. And it is darkening the shirt a bit, but it's not really doing anything to the colour. That's fine, because it is taking it away from a skin tone, which is what we wanted. But I think we are going to have to use something else just to tint it, to make it look a bit less the way it currently does. Yeah, that's a fair point, Akira. I will, if you find it before I do, please let me know. I did sit and read the Twitch 101 stuff that they put out, but I'm not sure how much of it sank in, to be honest. We're going to use the same washer we've just used on his shirt on his trousers, because the trousers are very bright, and it will hopefully darken them down a bit. You can see that it's kind of already doing a job, because it just sinks into those recesses and makes them a bit darker where the shadows would normally lie. And then I'll probably get to painting his belt soon. But if I hold that up to the camera, you can see that the trousers aren't quite such a neon yellow. They look a bit more like a jumpsuit now. Warhammerers. Yeah, that's probably true. You've clearly been doing this longer than I have, so I bow to your wisdom and accept it graciously. Right, that is 1:45. That unfortunately means that I have to go back to work, but I think that's not bad for 45 minutes of work. We've got the shading on is starting. There's a wee bit too much shade on there, so I'm just going to take the worst of that off and then flatten the bubbles out. There we go. Well, you're the only person giving me suggestions, Akira, so I'm just going to have to run with it. But I think that's not bad for 45 minutes work. We've got his skin more or less done. I think that's going to need a wash just to deepen the green a little bit. It looks a bit like a 2D cartoon at the minute. It'll help once I paint his facial features. Still got a lot of details to go though. Like I said, the facial features, I want to do a few different colours on the weapons. The banding on the handle there needs picked out. The belts. It's weird because essentially what the way I paint is I put my colours in, and then I do my shades and my highlights, and then fine details like rust or blood spatter or whatever on the weapons. I'm not sure I'm going to do too much rust on these, because I painted a lot of rust when I was doing the Death Guard. I'm kind of sick of rust. but I think the blood spatter would definitely make the swords interesting. But half of painting is waiting for the washes to dry. If I hold that up, and hopefully don't blind anyone, you can see they're still wet in the crevices. So there's not a huge amount really I could do until that dries anyway. But that's why I have several models on the go at one time, because then I can paint another one while the first one's drying. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Oh, I just saw Supple followed. Thank you, Supple. I will sort out my chat thing courtesy of Akira's advice. And yeah, thank you all for being here. It's been awesome, and I will see you all next time. Ciao for now.